If you can enjoy your own company, you would stop chasing the wrong people. In 2026, girls, we're not chasing the wrong group of people. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I know this is not the way your girl usually sets up her content, but over the last few months I have been thinking about and have came to the conclusion in which that, drumroll please, I want to create a space that is not just, for vlogging my daily life and, just about me, but I want to create this space where it could share the lessons I've learned throughout my life journey about self-growth, confidence, and also lessons that I've picked up just throughout the seasons of life where things just feels a little bit uncertain. I want this platform to be more than just vlogs. I want it to be a space where you can watch and take away something meaningful and also potentially help you out, or you can just treat it as a podcast for inspiration, or also things that you can take away to help you yourself with seasons of life where it just feels a little bit uncertain as well. And guys, for the longest time, I've actually struggled a lot with finding a niche for myself. I've always been told, oh my gosh, Jolie, you need to find a niche, you need to find something that you need to focus on, and then just like lock in that and then leave the rest behind. And I think I've came to that conclusion in which that I am just not that type of person. Like, I'm not that girl that kind of, like to just focus on one thing. I am someone that loves exploring. Like, I love all sorts of different things, and I believe that's what makes me me. And deep down, I generally believe that we are kind of built with all sides of like different kind of pieces, and I think it's awesome that we actually explore all of that instead of only focusing on one specific part. So I'm actually someone who loves like a wide range, like literally from fashion, beauty, all the way to studying, educating, or like having adventure and stuff like that. Like, that is how wild it could get. But obviously for this platform, I would be mainly focusing on vlogging my daily life, and also fashion, beauty, and right now advising, and also self-improving and growth. So if you're new here, welcome. If you're someone just like me who love all these sorts of range of stuff, and if you also want to improve in this coming year into becoming a better version of yourself, you're at the right space. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. Okay, my first piece of advice would be learn to be alone. I've always actually been someone that is kind of like, I'm really scared to be alone. I've always been in a relationship, I've always been with my friends. Like, being alone, like the concept in general, just really scares me. Back to back, I would have been in a relationship, and for a really long time I didn't actually realize how much of myself was I losing in that whole process and in that whole journey. And actually, for the first time in life, I'm alone, and it feels different, but honestly, it had taught me more than any relationship had ever taught me. Now, being alone is not easy. Let me just clarify that first. But it actually teaches you who you are without needing any validation. There's something you guys have to understand. Being alone isn't loneliness, it's space. It's the space to hear yourself, it's the space to understand what you need and not what everyone else expects from you. And I think people usually confuse that a lot. Because when you're constantly surrounded by people or always tied to someone, we often forget who we are, our interests, our voice, especially our own identity. I actually remember this one moment that really stuck with me throughout life was when I was with my previous partner, and we were at a nail salon. And the lady asked me, so what's my hobby? And I remember at that moment I froze. Like, I didn't know what to say, I didn't know how to answer. So I kind of just mumbled something along the line like, I'm not too sure, maybe like taking pictures pictures. Later that day, my partner did look at me and confronted me that that was kind of boring, and at that moment, well, I have to admit, it kind of hurts. But now looking back, he isn't entirely wrong. Because how could I not even know what I enjoy doing? How could I love someone else when I don't even know who I am and I don't even love myself enough to know what I enjoy to do? So when I started becoming alone, I decided that I would stop running away from the discomfort and I would sit with myself even when it feels unfamiliar, even when it feels uncomfortable. And slowly, things started to change. I started trying out new things, doing things just because I wanted to. Something like traveling alone, like currently I'm traveling alone, and things like experiencing new countries, like learning new skills, trying new hobbies, like all sorts of things. I started saying yes to curiosity instead of fearing it. And just by discovering new things, I started doing things that I didn't even know I would like and I would love. And that's where my confidence came from. It's not from being louder, it's not from proving myself, it's simply just by knowing myself more and being more of me. So, if you're asking me, my first advice would be sit with yourself even when it feels uncomfortable, even when it feels unfamiliar. Because if you can enjoy your own company, you would stop chasing the wrong people. Now, that's something really important. I want you guys to take a note and write it down, because in 2026, girls, we're not chasing the wrong group of people. Now, for the second lesson, learn to choose yourself without feeling the guilt. For me, this showed up as learning how to say no. And this might sound easy, but actually, I know for a lot of baddies out there, this is a fat challenge, saying no and not feeling the guilt. For the longest time, saying no feels way heavier than saying yes. Saying no feels like I was going to disappoint someone. It feels like I'm going to be pushed away. It feels like I'm going to be disliked. It feels like I'm going to be left out, and all sorts of these kinds of feeling. It's just like, it just builds up, like just from saying one no, and over time I guess I just keep saying yes to things that even makes me feel uncomfortable doing. And I truly think society plays a huge role in this, where they make us feel guilty from saying no, because we're constantly being praised for being easygoing, flexible, and kind of agreeable, etc. And consequently, when we finally say no, it makes us feel as though we're breaking some sort of unspoken rule around the corner. We're made to feel like we're difficult, unreasonable, and hard to be around with. And over time, no, girls, you don't just lose your boundaries, you start to lose your voice and you start to lose your confidence, because you yourself no longer trust yourself. Guys, learning to say no isn't just about pushing people away. It is about finally choosing yourself without feeling the guilt. So, you guys may wonder, Jolie, how does this link to all your overarching ideas and stuff like that? Let me put it this way. Every time you start to choose yourself, you are reinforcing the idea and belief that your needs matter. That's where confidence starts to grow. Choosing myself have taught me a lot that confidence isn't about having everything figured out. It is about making decisions that aligns with who you want to be and who you want to become, and not who you're trying to please. And that's when I realized that I don't actually need to announce my growth. I just needed to live it. So don't try to rush and tell the world who you're becoming. Simply let your consistency and your actions speak for itself. And guys, finally, for the final advice and piece of lesson is, I believe I don't actually see much people talking about this on the internet, because when I'm actually going through this phase and the seasons of life, I was digging on the internet really hard to seek for advice and kind of seek for ways that I can move past it, but I don't really see much people talking about it. So the last piece of lesson advice would be, growth will feel lonely before it feels empowering. So after you have actually learned the first and second step that I've talked about, you would realize that after you've learned to be alone and you've learned to finally start choosing yourself, there is a seasons of life where things just feels a little bit quiet. And what do I mean by this? You might start feeling disconnected from people you used to connect with. You might start feeling disconnected from your old routines, or even the old versions of you that everyone else used to know. But this is often where real growth actually starts kicking in. you are outgrowing and shedding away from things that you no longer aligns with. There's this one quote that I saw that I really like actually, was by this guy. He mentioned, you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. And the more I grew, the more it actually makes sense to me, and I think it really relates to today's topic. Because as I began to start choosing myself, like setting boundaries and respecting my own energy, I started realizing that certain friendship was no longer aligning with the version I was becoming. Outgrowing people is not about your ego or thinking you're better than anyone else. It's about realizing that when your value change, your environment has to change too. And this is because when you shift internally, your external environment starts to respond. And consequently, some people naturally start drifting away because they just feel unfamiliar, and that's absolutely okay. But there's one key thing I want you guys to take note of. This isn't lost. It's alignment. As you grow, it is normal that you start attracting a new group, new people, and new environment. And this new environment reflects the new you. And that includes your self-respect, your boundaries, and even your own peace. So stop being the version of you where you're still trying to fit into the old environment, being the new you, because that is just not gonna work out quite well. And that brings us to an end to our video. I really hope you guys enjoy this new series of mine. I know this video might not be the best because it is my first, but I promise I will improve and I will get better as time tags along. But make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and please give me some feedback. If you guys have any, you guys could DM me on my Instagram, or you guys could comment down in the comment section below. And if not, that's all from me. I love you guys heaps. Toodles!